mothers and others, and Reba mentioned that as well, which means that it's not just moms. And we have always invited others, but the fact is that after the Parkland shooting, the voices of students became louder and louder. And students now are impacted in ways that us as adults don't really understand from their perspective. And my kids have been doing lockdown drills, I think, since kindergarten because of concerns about violence among students. So Students Demand Action is an offshoot of Moms Demand Action, and we have a student here, West Windsor Plainsboro School District has their own chapter of Students Demand Action, and they work very closely with our Mercer County chapter, and I'd like to introduce Denai to say a few words.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. So hi, my name is Denai Smith. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a rising high school senior at West Windsor Plainsboro High School South in West Windsor, New Jersey. And I currently serve as the president of Mercer County Students Demand Action for the 2021 to 2022 school year. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. And for the past 6 years, we've worn orange to remember Hadia Pendleton, a 15-year-old girl who was shot and killed due to a city, state, and nation that failed to protect her. And as I stand before you today, myself being a few years older than Hadia being 17, I cannot help but reflect upon the fact that my whole life I've lived in lockdown. The first time I heard the phrase lockdown was at Thomas Grover Middle School. As my friends and I enjoyed our snack on an average Tuesday afternoon, we were met with the impending sound of our principal proclaiming lockdown drill, followed by subsequent sirens. As my friends and I panicked and distraught in disillusionment, my teacher made all of us huddle into a tiny corner, wherein we sat in silence for 30 minutes straight. And those who were familiar with this drill remained calm and patient. But those who weren't, like myself, sat in utmost fear as we wondered what would happen next. And thankfully this was, as I said before, a drill, a mere simulation of what could have happened in the case of the school shooting. However, what we experienced is a reality and was a reality for students throughout our nation. From Marjory Stoneman Douglas, Sandy Hook Elementary School, to Santa Fe, my generation, Gen Z, and millennials have grown up amidst waves of violence perpetuated by the lack and deficit of common sense gun laws. As a result, we've combined ourselves into an endless state of lockdown. From monthly lockdown drills to the excessive presence of police in our schools, we have lived, and students throughout our nation have lived in a state of fear and what-ifs. What if this happens at my school? What if my peers are in danger? What if my teachers are in danger? And what if I don't get to go home to my family the next day? And while the COVID-19 pandemic has radically shifted the fabric of our nation and what goes on within schools with regards to gun violence, we must acknowledge that as we begin to return to our new normal, the rate of gun violence has increased drastically. We must too acknowledge that gun violence exists inside and outside of our nation's schools. In March of 2021, America was recorded to have the 32nd highest rate of deaths from gun violence worldwide. This being 3.96 deaths per 100,000 people in 2019, which is 8 times larger than those in Canada. And must I add that today, USA Today, reported that mass shootings turned America's gun culture into a killing culture. A culture which has and continues to disproportionately impact BIPOC communities. For time immemorial, we have lived in a nation built upon the false promise of tranquility and safety for all. And today, I choose to fight for a future wherein all individuals are safe from the harms of gun violence. My refusal to remain silent and my deliberate choice to take action is what propelled me to join Students Demand Action and what propels me to continue working with Moms Demand Action to fight for change. This is why I'm here today, and as I can assume, this is why we're all here today. United in the moral vitality of fighting for our future generations, fighting for us, our children, our friends, our peers, and ultimately the future. And evidently, our work is not over. I, myself, alongside the students of Students Demand Action, had the honor to pass proclamations in both West Windsor and Plainsboro declaring today as National Gun Violence Awareness Day, or Wear Orange Day. However, I do believe that the efforts of grassroots organizers here in Mercer County, New Jersey, and throughout our nation are going to keep this momentum growing, and this is going to transgress into a bigger nationwide movement than ever before. Today, and together, we're radically transforming our communities and building a safer and equitable nation for all. And to those here, I'm prepared to continue to work alongside you to fight for our future. And for those watching at home, I implore you to take action now. The future's watching. Thank you.
Every time I hear folks from Students Demand Action speak, and folks from Gen Z speak about these important issues, it just moves me so much because I have so much more hope than I had. Just thank you so much. So one last thanks I want to give to Karen here, who got the gazebo. It was his idea. Well, I suggested putting orange ribbons up, and he said, why don't we do an event? And I said, wow, I haven't even thought about that. So I have to call on it. Thank you for putting this together. I just want to take a minute. If anyone else wants to come up and say any words, say anything else, I want to give everybody a minute to do so, if anyone feels compelled to speak.